Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Menieres Muse podcast. I'm Heather Davies. This week, I'm talking with Dave Giugno about his vestibular journey with Menieres disease, which ultimately led him to a left-sided labyrinthectomy. His symptoms began Christmas Eve 2014 and became chronic in 2018. Prior to his vestibular journey, he sang baritone in the church choir and was an avid photographer. He has turned a hobby of video editing into a passion project for Menieres patients on his YouTube blog titled Menieresdisease Warrior. He shares openly here about his day-to-day life with this disease. He is also the co-founder of two groups on Facebook, Menieres and Vertigo Without Borders and Menieres and Vertigo with Christian Borders. His wife began the support group, Partners of Menieres and Vertigo Without Borders, which is directed more to the significant others and partners of loved ones with these vestibular disorders. Dave has found living with Menieres has given him more patience and has also allowed him to watch his youngest son grow. He is thankful for so much in life right now and loves bringing awareness to these disorders. Welcome, Dave. Well, welcome, Dave.
Thank you.
Thank you for agreeing to come on Menieres Muse and share your story.
Oh, no problem. I'm more than happy to. It's like I said in their emails, it was an honor to be asked. It made me very happy because it's like, wow, somebody's actually recognizing what I'm doing, you know?
Absolutely.
Instead of fake herbal people who are you're trying to sell you stuff all the time.
I know. I get those on Instagram constantly. And like, I just leave the little post there. I don't even know. I don't even respond to them anymore.
Yeah, I'm trying not to now.
Well, would you mind sharing a little bit about yourself, and then we'll jump into your journey?
Sure. Dave Giugno. I grew up in Boston. If you can't tell from my accent, and I live out in Central Mass now. I've been married 29 years. Yeah, 29 years. I've been with my wife 36 years. We've only been married 29. I've got 3 children. My oldest, David Giugno Jr., who is in the Army Reserve and postman, I guess. I delivers mail. Mm-hmm. My daughter Erin, who's 23, she works with autistic children. She lives out in doesn't live at home, thank God. I love my daughter dearly, but you know. And my son John, who's 17, and he'll be a senior this year, graduating high school. 2 grandchildren, Susie and Samuel. And I like to fish. I like to do photography. And what else do I like to do? I like to go out to eat a lot.
Are things pretty open up there now?
Yeah, I like to cook too. I've become the main cook in the house. So, you know, I think I get more enjoyment out of cooking than I do anything else.
That's awesome. I bet your wife loves that.
Oh, she does. She's a better cook than I am, but she loves it because she's not, you know, she works still. So she's not coming home and making dinner and all this stuff. And
right.
She comes home, dinner's ready. 3 of us are sitting there, 2 of us are sitting there waiting for her to run around the house for 20 minutes.
Well, when did your vestibular symptoms begin?
Christmas Eve, 2014. That's when it started. I had just got back from a 4 o'clock mass. I was singing in the choir at that point, and I had to go back at 7 for the 7 o'clock mass. And I was supposed to sing a solo, and I came home because I live right around the corner. The church is literally walking distance. I came home, I grabbed a seltzer water, and I sat down when I was watching a college football game. And all of a sudden I'm like, well, I don't feel good. Something's not right. And I stood up, and the whole room was just spinning, and I was sweating profusely. I could barely walk. It was crazy. Ringing the ears was unbelievable. I mean, I got up and I went into the kitchen, and my wife's family was there because we usually do Christmas Eve with them. And I went in the kitchen and they thought first thought I was joking around. I don't know how you joke around with sweat unless I poured seltzer water on my head. So, my wife got me down to the bedroom and, they took my temperature. I never fever, but everything was just spinning. My sister-in-law is a nurse, goes, "Oh, it's a virus." A virus? No, and nobody would take me to the ER. I was begging people to take me to the ER. They wouldn't take me.
Was this the first time you ever experienced vertigo?
Yeah, I thought I was dying, and nobody would take me to the hospital. They kept saying it was a virus. It was this, it was that. So I fell asleep. I don't know how I fell asleep. I finally fell asleep, and then I woke up a couple hours later, and I was not vertigo, but that off balance feeling, dizziness type. So I ate and I went back to bed, and the next day I was okay. And then I drove my son down to Fort Lee, Virginia, about a week and a half later, for his advanced something training with the Army. And while I was down there, because I spent a week down there, I didn't just drop him off and then head back home. I spent a week because I wanted to see Virginia. And I had, like 2 days later, I had another vertigo attack. And I spent the day in the hotel. I didn't know where to go. And then when I got back, I had another spell, and that's when I went to the doctor. I went to the urgent care. My wife took me to urgent care. And they were like, "Oh yeah, it's probably a bug, but here's some Flonase and here's whatever." A month later, happened again. And my wife took me to my doctor, and he was like, "Oh, I think it's BPPV." And he did the Epley maneuvers and gave me a prescription for meclizine, and gave me the week off of work to rest, do nothing. Okay.
Did you have relief with the Epley maneuver?
No. The meclizine did help. So at that point, every time I had this problem, the vertigo or the dizziness, I took meclizine, and it would clear up within an hour or two. And then a few years later, I went into like a 4-day attack. And on the second day, my wife dragged me to the doctors again. Because, us, and I think this happens to a lot of men don't go to the doctors, So she's like, "You're going to the doctors. I don't care, blah, blah, blah." "All right, fine. You're the boss, no problem." And he did the Epley, still didn't work. Gave me another prescription for meclizine, and I said, "Don't bother. I buy it at Walmart for $1.48. It's cheaper." And he went, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah." He didn't realize it was over the counter. And then, so he gave me a referral to an ENT, because he was like, "I don't know." I'm like, "Okay." So the first ENT I saw literally thought I was crazy. Said there was nothing wrong with me, wouldn't do any tests, wouldn't do CAT scan or anything. Said, "There's nothing wrong with you. I don't know why you're here." And it was like the only doctor's appointment I ever got up and walked out on, right in the middle of it. Right when he was talking, he goes, "Where you going?" I said, "Obviously, there's nothing wrong with me. Have a nice day, jackass."
Right.
I didn't say jackass. I said something else. And so I called my doctor back and I said, "Can you refer me to somebody else?" That guy was an idiot. And he goes, "Yeah." So there was another guy. I saw another doctor, and he goes, "Yeah, it sounds like Menieres disease." And he explained to me what Menieres disease was. So I had an MRI to check for the tumors. There was no tumors. And he goes, "You have Menieres disease, low salt diet. There's nothing we can do. And here's a bottle of Klonopin."
Dave, did he do any other tests?
He did not.
No.
He did not. So he handed me a bottle of Klonopin, 90 pills of Klonopin.
Were you having anxiety?
No, he just kept saying it would help stop the vertigo. And I'm going, Klonopin's an addictive drug. I'm not an idiot, you know? And so after about a month, I called him back and I said, listen, there's gotta be more to this. I'm seeing more on YouTube and doing my research. There's tests and things that you should be able to do to help me. And he was like, well, let me refer you to somebody else. Okay. So he refers me to Dr. Gasek. And the reason why I say his name is because he was a researcher of Menieres, that he found that 70% of Menieres patients, it's a virus. And I was like, well, okay, actually I looked him up. He's a researcher, his kid's a researcher. They were placed in Birmingham, Alabama as well. So I went and saw him. Well, first thing he does is he doesn't do any tests. First thing, because he's looking at the MRI. And first thing he does is put me on an antiviral. I'm trying to think of the name of it. I can't think of the name of it. Put me on an antiviral. Did nothing, made it worse. Tried another antiviral, different one. That didn't do anything. Then he tried prednisone. That helped. But as we all know, prednisone doesn't last forever. Then we did the steroid shots. Then we did the gentamicin shots.
So you did have the injections in your ear?
Yeah, in my left.
In your left ear. So did they do an audiogram, anything besides?
He did an audiogram, and the audiogram showed I had significant hearing loss, severe hearing loss in my left ear, and significant in my right. I don't know what the difference is, but so the gentamicin didn't work either. So he refers me to another doctor because he's retiring. He didn't tell me he was retiring, but he was retiring. And the poor man actually never got a chance to retire. He actually had a heart attack while he was at work at UMass Hospital, UMass Amherst Medical Center. He had a heart attack while he was at a patient. He was 83 years old, and he was still practicing. Great guy. He was a great guy. I mean, he knew what he was talking about. I will give him that much, but he was old. So the guy I see now is Dr. Emmett Schneider, and he did the goggle test right then and there. He looked at my eardrums, and he was like, "Oh, no wonder why the gentamicin didn't work. Your eardrum is all messed up." He goes, "Medicine never really got a chance to get into it because it was being sucked up by your eardrum or going straight out." I was like, okay, so, and he did the whole VNG, all that stuff. And he goes, let's do a labyrinthectomy on the left ear. Your right ear seems to be okay at this point, even though you got hearing loss. And I went, okay, let's do it. It's going to help me. And for about 11 months, I was great. I had very little vertigo. I had hardly any vertigo, some dizziness, but that was all with, I was doing my vestibular exercises and everything. And for 11 months, it was great. And even in between that time, my manager had called and said, listen, we know you're on long-term disability, but we're going to have to terminate you. But if you can come back to work, you apply right away and we'll rehire you like that. You won't have to go through the interview process, nothing, and everything will continue. Your time, all that stuff. And I went, okay. And about 3 days later, I had another vertigo attack.
Oh my goodness.
And so I don't know if you've seen, excuse me, I don't know if you've seen the videos, but I keep a journal.
So you do keep, is it a symptom journal?
A what?
A symptom journal, like your symptoms?
I write the dates that like vertigo happens and what happened that day with the vertigo. I don't do these, and I've seen some columns and all this stuff, and I'm like, I just keep it simple. And so when I have to go see Dr. Emmett Schneider every 6 months anyways. So I waited, I told him, say the vertigo's back. Did the whole tests again. And now it's in my right ear.
Oh, I've heard of that happening.
Yeah. So he's like, you need to apply for SSDI. I can't let you go back to work. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. No problem.
I have a couple questions. Let's backtrack a little bit. After you had the labyrinthectomy, did you have tinnitus or noise sensitivity or any of that discomfort, any of those crazy symptoms right after?
Yes, the tinnitus was off the roof, and it still is in the left ear.
It is.
It gets to right now. It's been okay, but there are times it just ramps up so loud that it's like I'm running a car engine without the exhaust. It's that loud. I can't hear anything. It's so loud, and it will wake me up in the middle of the night.
Oh.
You know,
Have you noticed any changes with your nutrition and things that have decreased your tinnitus or any of the other symptoms?
vitamin B,
Vitamin B.
vitamin B complex has helped a lot. I mean, I eat salads, chicken, like last night I made pork roast, fish. You know, I like to make a lot of soups, but they're all homemade. They're not, you know, here's a can of Progresso, which, you
Right.
know, loaded with
Those days are
salt.
over. Condensed soup are over.
Yeah, super over
Yeah.
salt, or, you know, like I make my own sauce. My own sauce. I'm a Sicilian. So I
Yeah.
make my own sauce. And it basically just made what my mother made. I watched her make it. And it's all homemade. It's very little salt. There's less salt in it than you'd find in the store. Even though my wife continues to buy the store brand. She thinks it's low salt. And I'm like, damn, my salt and that's low salt and low salt. What are you doing? Yeah, but this is easier for you. And I said, I'm glad. I love you too. And I'm glad you're trying to make my life easier, but please let me do something. But yeah, you know, once in a while we get pizza, but my friend owns the pizza shop. He knows not to do what, you know, try to make it as low salt as possible. But usually any pizza I'm fine with, except for Domino's.
Really?
Domino's will send. I had Domino's the other day. My son wanted to treat me to lunch, and I didn't know what he was getting. I'm like, whatever. Thought he was getting burritos or something from AAA, and it was pizza from Domino's. And I was like, okay.
Sent you spinning.
Yeah, within about 2 hours,
Oh,
I was on the couch with one dog on the floor next to me, and my other dog keeping my feet warm.
so what's the next step? I mean, you definitely can't
Um,
have the labyrinthectomy of the right ear.
now, right now, he's got an ear tube in,
Okay.
which seems to help a lot. I just had it actually a new one put in a couple weeks ago, which I think it's still healing. I don't know. It hurts. Not bad, but it's, you know, I could feel this one. I don't know why. And the next step would be anaphylactic decompression surgery.
I don't know much about that.
Yeah, it's they go in and shape the bone down in your inner ear, and they put a shunt in there, so the fluid drains. Doesn't build up; it's got a release point. So that's the next step, because you can't do labyrinthectomy because I'd be in a wheelchair, you know,
Yeah. No.
and I'd be totally deaf because that left me totally deaf, the labyrinthectomy.
Right.
So, you know, and could they do cochlear implants? Well, yeah, I'm sure they could, but
Yeah.
it's, you know, people always brag about how great they are, but I asked my doctor about it. He goes, well, yeah, they're good. They're meant for you to hear people talk and this and that. As far as listening to music and things like that, they're, you know, I get people that come in here all the time. Can you adjust this for this? Can you adjust this for that? And,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know,
and has this affected your singing? I mean,
yeah, I don't sing anymore. Very rarely do I. I don't go to choir practice anymore. If I know the song, and it's like a holy day mass, like a Good Friday or a Holy Thursday, Easter Vigil, I'll jump in with the choir, just so they can get that baritone sound, because they have no baritone in there at all. And when I'm filming, I'm not there with the choir. The choir's not there, so, you know, I will sing, but that's just, singing for the heck of it. But once in a while, yeah, this Easter they asked me, which was, I was like, how am I gonna do this? Priest wants me taking pictures. They want me playing percussion. And then they want me to sing. How am I gonna do this? I did it.
You did.
Yeah, I did it. And I was so happy.
Oh, that's awesome.
I was so happy. My wife was like, "You're amazing. I can't believe you did that."
Oh, that's awesome.
And I'm like, well, yeah, I didn't stop taking pictures after a while. How many times can I take a picture of an altar? You know? But yeah, I ended up singing, and then it was a solo part for tenor. And I sang that. And then whatever percussion they needed me to do, I was doing. And it was a great feeling to do it, but I know I can't do it all the time. And I can't learn new music. It's very hard. It's very hard. But that singing actually is one of the things I do that really affected me a lot with Menieres, not being able to.
Yeah.
Even enjoy music, it's really hard to even enjoy. I went to see Genesis in December. And I've seen Genesis 5 times in my life. First show I went to, I was 10 and a half, you know?
Yeah.
So I wanted to see that last show, and the last show was in Boston. And the last show, and that was where they first played, was the town I grew up in, outside of Boston, when they first came in 1972 to the United States, at Brandeis University in Waltham. So I was 6, I didn't go see them then, but to see that last show ever in North America, even though Phil's in a chair, his kid's playing drums, which he's very good, I could actually enjoy that music. And it also helped that the girls behind me were smoking marijuana. So I turned around and they went,
Dave's got a contact high.
And I was like, "Oh, I'm doing great." And then just a secondhand smoke, because I do CBD once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And after the show, they were like, "Sorry about the smoke." I'm like, "You're the reason why I made it through the whole show." And then, what do you mean? I explained to them,
right,
I had Menieres disease. One of the girls' mothers has it.
Oh.
It happenstance, and they were very nice girls. I mean, they were my son's age. They were probably 27 years old. And oh my God, we're so sorry you have that. My mother has that. Oh, I feel so bad for you. I wish I know, because I would have just had you come sit with us. And we all could have. I said, well, first off, it's COVID. I don't know if you have COVID. Thank you. And they were really, really, really great people.
That's great.
And plus I got, my friend of mine I didn't even know was up there, who was sitting directly above us. I look at my phone after the show, and I get a message, "Why are you smoking dope with those girls?" And I'm like, I wasn't. She saw me turning around and talking.
That's funny. Hey, well, recently you spoke in your vlog, Menieres Disease Warrior, about coming to a fork in the road and having to make a decision in your life. And I know a lot of us come to that junction sooner or later. Would you mind sharing a little bit about the fork in the road?
Sure. Well, the fork in the road is basically which way you want to go. When you get diagnosed, we go through all these different emotions. Let's face it. I mean, and it's not something that's going to kill us, but you still go through all these emotions because it's a life changer, right? So, once I was told I couldn't work anymore and I had to file for SSDI and all this, I was devastated because I worked full-time for 35 years. I didn't know what it was like. The first couple of weeks you don't work is great because it's like a vacation. You think, oh, vacation is great. Well, after that, what do I do? I can't do this. I don't feel good, blah, 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 blah. So, I came to the fork, and at first I started going to the right, where I was going down negative. It was everybody else's fault. Everybody had to help me. 30 years of not drinking went down the drain because I'd start drinking again. And I was a closet drinker. I wasn't one of these guys who went out and partied. I was a closet drinker. Nobody knew. I hid it from everybody. So I was self-medicating and blah, 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 blah. And my friend, and I was really taking it out on everybody. I was losing friends just from my attitude. I was losing friends. I almost lost my family. My wife almost left me. And my friend Gina Marie, who I founded Menieres and Vertigo Without Borders with, called me one day because I really torqued her off. And she said, listen, there's something wrong with you. You need help. I think you should make a phone call. And I was, screw you, screw this, screw everybody. And about 2 hours later, I realized what I was doing. I had a problem. I need to fix it. And I found all the bottles I had hidden around the house, dumped them all out, made a phone call, called my wife, came home from work, and she knew I was crying. And I told her I was making a phone call to get some help and, blah, 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 blah. And she's like, I've been wanting to tell you that for months. I'm like, why didn't you? And she was like, well, I was afraid you'd snap. And I said, well, you're part of it. So, yeah, I'll be 4 years again, 4 years sober in August 13th. And yeah, I got some help. I went through therapy, oh God, about a year and a half. And there was a lot of stuff that came out. It wasn't just dealing with Menieres. It was a lot of stuff from my childhood and everything. And realizing I had depression and anxiety my whole life. I just didn't realize it. Yeah, there was just so much stuff that was coming out. But one of the things was when I was working, I spent 10 years working in the Massachusetts prison system, fixing copiers for RICO, because everybody was afraid to go there. I was like, I'm not, So I had spent 10 years almost daily with inmates. I wasn't in a separate area. I was in with the inmates. And a lot of them were fine. They were actually kind of friendly. A lot of them were probably people that just made bad mistakes in their life and had to pay for it. But all that trauma that I saw in the maximum and the medium, supermax, it really had to come out and get it out of my head and find, and that was all part of it. And that was all part of all the anxiety and the stress that I was having with Menieres. That Menieres was just like the tip of the iceberg.
Right. So
today I'm a very different person than I was even before Menieres.
Right.
I'm people always ask me, how are you so positive? How are you so hopeful? And it's like, I'm alive.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I'm alive. And not every day is a bad day. And that's the thing that we were mentioning earlier, is so many people take that bad way. That's what I meant, the negative way. Well, positive, okay, you go positive fork, which that's what I did. Once I got down, I ended up coming back up and getting back on the right path, the positive path, that fork in the road. Things became easier for me to do. I had more of a fight in me to try to do things. Like walking in the woods that are behind my house. 4 years ago, I wouldn't have done next. I'd be petrified I was going to fall. Mm-hmm. Now I do it with the dogs, and it helps with my balance,
Are you doing vestibular rehab, or have you ever done it?
I have done it a few times.
Yeah.
I've done it a few times. I do the exercises and stuff. I don't fall as much as I used to. But now I'm not afraid to walk down a bumpy path. My wife bought a bike in October last year to go biking with her cousin. She was going away for the weekend. I was like, and she brought it home, and of course, my son John jumps on it. He takes for a ride, and when my wife and my son weren't looking, I jumped on it.
Oh, how did that end up?
Driving it around the neighborhood.
Oh, you did. That's awesome.
I did it. Yeah, I was balancing and everything, and I'm like, look, I was even doing no hands. I was a kid again, and my wife was like freaking out, and my son was like, Dad, well, that's because your balance is in your core when you're on your bike. And I'm like, I'm still doing it. And did you break that bike? I'll kill you. And I got off. But yeah, it was, so things that I normally wouldn't have done first being diagnosed because I was petrified of everything.
Right.
And okay, yeah, so I can't get on a bike every day,
Right.
but I can when I feel good. It's like I can't drive a car every day, and actually was told no more highway driving by my doctor last time I saw him. But it doesn't mean I can't drive anymore. It just means I have to limit that.
Right. No,
So to go to the drugstore, go to the pharmacy, or go to the doctor's. That's it. And that's only if I feel good.
right.
And that's because now I'm having a problem where sometimes, how you look like that to see if a car's coming. Well, my head will be straight. My eyes are still going.
Yeah.
Like that. So that was the reasoning behind the no highway driving anymore, which is fun. I let my wife drive. I don't care.
Yeah, I do. What is your biggest challenge facing you today? What would you say that would be?
My biggest challenge?
Yeah. Today. I know you've overcome a lot.
I've overcome a lot. So that's a hard one. I think if you think what I'd want to do would be to get on a motorbike again. No big motorcycle, Harley,
Right.
whatever, but even, those, the Vespas,
Yeah.
I used to have a moped, and I loved driving that thing. And it wasn't fast. It wasn't, the fastest thing in the world, and it did trick, but it was just nice to get on it, to do local round town, or,
Yeah, they have so many new electronic bikes and things. You could possibly do that, especially if you got on the bike.
Yeah, so that would probably be an obstacle that I would like to conquer. Yeah, I know getting in one of those, the Harley or some rice burners, we used to call them as kids. That's not smart.
Yeah,
That's just
our days of riding bikes are over like that, motorcycles and stuff.
100,
Unless you get a trike.
Yeah, a trike. But even that, 190 horsepower on two wheels, 190 on three wheels. It's not smart for us.
Right. No.
So, okay, yeah. When my wife had she had my daughter has it now, Maxima. She had a Nissan Maxima. All right, yeah, 400 horsepower. I used to love driving that thing. But now, I could still drive it. It's not that I can't, but it's really too much for people with Menieres to handle. Getting on a motor, like a scooter or whatever they call them. Yeah, that would be something I would like to overcome.
I can see you doing that.
Kayaking too.
Oh.
I would love to go kayaking.
Well, if you ever make it down to Florida, I'll be happy to take you. We love it.
Yeah, I keep trying to talk my wife into letting me do it, and she, you're not gonna talk me into this. Want to bet?
Oh, it would be good for you. Well, what advice would you give someone, or even yourself, at the beginning of your vestibular journey? Is there anything that you wish you would have known?
Don't listen to the horror stories. Do your research. Because a lot of people will tell you horror stories. And that really, when I was first diagnosed, my wife had said to me, you know, you're on Facebook all the time. Why don't you see if they got support groups? Oh, okay. So I went downstairs and, you know, got on the computer and found one of the bigger ones. And I'm reading these things and I'm like, what? Oh my God. And it really started, you know, that was kind of down the downslope. Really, it kind of triggered because I'm thinking, all these people are telling horror stories. They're not looking for advice. They're just telling horror stories. And then I came across this one girl who would make videos.
Mhm.
And it was always positive type of thing. And so I spent a night just watching her videos, literally. And I sent her a direct message. And I said, hi, my name is Dave Giugno. No, I am not a dirty old man. I do not want you to think this, because I know people on Facebook sent or Instagram sent pictures of whatever, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I said, your videos are really helping me. I am so petrified and nervous. I'm newly diagnosed. Thank you for making these videos. And we started talking, you know, because she was like, if I can help you in any way, please feel free to contact me. I'm glad you first came out and said that you weren't a dirty old man. Because I mean, yeah, is she a pretty girl? Yeah, but I wasn't interested, you know, in that. My wife is the most beautiful thing in the world to me. So I wasn't interested in that. I was just interested in finding help. And then we started talking, and then we found out our own group. Then we became best friends. You know, Gina Marie Jackson.
Oh, I think I read one of her
Yeah, she writes
blogs.
Yeah.
And you were
She
cited.
doesn't do it anymore.
Yeah, I was trying to find the most recent, and I wasn't able to find anything new.
Yeah, there wasn't any. She doesn't do it anymore. She's really busy, so she doesn't really do much. Even in the groups, she posts once in a while, but I kind of run most of it. But we became really good friends, and we've met each other in person. And our kids get along great and stuff. So we're hoping to actually go down there again this summer at some point. But she really was the one who helped me the most. Even she was the one who called me about getting help.
Mhm.
You know, so I do give her a lot of credit to, you know, to putting me on a path, the right path.
And you guys run a couple groups together, is that right?
Yeah, we run that one, Menieres and Vertigo with Christian Borders, which is a faith-based, which people ask for prayers and things.
Sure.
And I know some people in other Christian groups, you know, nobody's up there, you know, proclaiming the gospel, whatever. And then there's another one which it's not very active, but it's Partners of Menieres and Vertigo Without Borders, and it's for people like our spouses help with us. It was actually my wife's idea.
That's a great idea. I love that.
She wasn't on Facebook at the time. So my wife is actually the real founder of that one. You know, it's a great idea. I wish it took off, but it's still there.
Right.
It just didn't take off, and that's okay. You know, that's fine. But yeah, one of the advice I can give is don't listen to horror stories. Do your research, and whatever it is, stay positive. You know, try to stay positive. Find what works for you. You know, not everything what works for me isn't going to necessarily work for you or anybody else. So, you know, you got to find your thing, and it's hard, but you know, stay positive, because you know, eventually someday they're going to find something that's going to help us. They are working on an implant for your balance, which would be nice if it came out. But they're working on it. Some people think that it's already out. No, it's not. So, I mean, there are things that are in the pipeline. But the other thing is people will say, well, why why can't they can get a vaccine for COVID, but they can't have a cure for Menieres? Well, here's the thing: Menieres isn't going to kill you. COVID can, and COVID can actually affect your Menieres, because it did with me.
Mhm.
It sent my right ear into hyperdrive. So, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. And don't listen to negative people. I mean, you get a lot of negativity out there. It's
A lot.
yeah. In some groups, that's all you see.
Keep scrolling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people don't. But yeah, but see, that's the problem. People don't.
Yeah, they get sucked in.
It's like I said before, the keyboard warriors.
Yeah.
And if you see them, because I used to post a lot about Menieres on my own Facebook, because I wanted people to make awareness, because that's what, you're not going to get research done or things done without having awareness. One night I wanted to go out, and I was feeling good, and my wife didn't want to go, and she was tired. I'm like, well, I want to go out. I'm sick and tired of being trapped here. I'm out of here. I did one of those. So I went. She knew where I was going and everything. So my friend Steve, I told him I wasn't coming, but when I walked into this place, he sat down right next to him. He didn't even know I was there for 5 minutes.
Hmm.
And then finally I went, oh my God, they were all happy. Everybody was happy. And then my friend Wendy said, where's Diane? And I said, well, she's tired. She didn't want to come out. And I really needed to get out. Good. I'll be Diane tonight. Really. And this was a girl I grew up with. I went to school with. And I actually, in high school, I had the strongest crush on her. But
That's good. You're still friends today.
Yeah, we're still friends. We're really
Awesome.
good friends. We always have been. And she was, if I had to walk up the stairs, she was right next to me. I wanted a drink, which I don't drink, but like a soda, she'd go get it.
Right.
The bathroom, she'd walk me to the bathroom. I'm like, Wendy, come on, my wife doesn't walk me to the bathroom. Cut it out. People got to talk.
Well, that's good that you're still getting out. I know when I started getting out, people didn't expect me to show up, because I kept getting the invites, and I'm like, yeah, no. But once you start showing up when you do feel good, it feels good.
It does. It's a good feeling, and that feeling lasts. It's
Yeah,
not,
it does.
it's not like, sometimes, you do pay to play,
Yeah.
but, even though I'm like, maybe the next day the world is spinning, I still got a smile on my face, because I was like, hey, I went out last night,
Push past those limits and went. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You just have to do that.
Exactly.
I know that you've mentioned a lot that you've changed since becoming diagnosed and having these symptoms. What has living with a vestibular disorder taught you?
What has it taught me? Patience.
One of the top answers I get.
Patience. Not to get frustrated, even though it's very hard, not to get frustrated, especially when people don't seem to get it, and we'll talk, without, I don't know how my family does it, but they could talk without moving their lips. My youngest one, and he has a low, soft voice, but he also doesn't move his lips, so I can't read his lips.
So hard.
Yeah, but frustration, people being ignorant, not to get upset about it. They don't understand, and you know what? You want to be ignorant? That's your problem, not mine. And that's the thing I do now. That's not my problem, not my service.
Yeah.
Which patience was something I didn't have. I was a very impatient person. I had an extremely short fuse, not physical and not emotional, but I would get mad very fast and very quick. And now I just kind of like, doesn't matter.
Yeah. Kind of roll with it. Is there anything else you want to share with us before we go on to whirlwind questions?
No, not really. I mean,
No?
I think we covered everything.
Heard a lot.
Yeah, learned a lot. Yeah. And I think we covered everything. If I could give a shout out to my channel, that would be cool.
Please do. Yes. Where can we
Yeah,
support you?
if you're interested in any of my videos on YouTube, it's Menieres Disease Warrior. There's like 127 videos dealing with just about everything. Even a series about SSDI that I've done. So please check out my channel. I would really appreciate it.
SSDI being Social Security Disability?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. I didn't watch those yet. Okay. I'll have to look at that.
I just did another one last night because somebody asked me where they were close to retirement if it made sense for them to apply for SSDI or wait for Social Security. And so I did my research. I read, looked at a couple of videos on YouTube, called my lawyer. Everybody said the same thing. Apply for your Social Security disability insurance because you'll get more money.
That's interesting.
And it doesn't change. When I hit 65, it won't change. I'm on it because basically what he said was disability insurance is just a name. It's your Social Security benefits. That's what you're getting. And that's what you're going to get the rest of your life.
Right.
Okay. Just asking for a friend.
Awesome. Well,
but there's a whole bunch of videos of that.
Yeah. And then we have your two support groups. Could you tell us what those are again? And I'll include them in the show notes.
Yeah, on Facebook, Menieres and Vertigo Without Borders. Menieres and Vertigo with Christian Borders, which is a faith-based group. And we do have another one for partners, which is for people who, their spouses or children or family members, partners of Menieres and Vertigo Without Borders.
Awesome. Thank you so much for everything you do out there.
Oh,
okay. All right. So just relax. And these questions are just fun and just whatever comes to mind.
Oh, great. Here we go.
All right. Fill in the blank. Vestibular disorders are?
Hellish.
You feel your symptoms coming on and you're trying to be brave, Dave. What's the first thing you do?
Oh, God. And I try to be brave?
Yep.
I literally try to focus on one thing and smile. Smile.
Sometimes those smiles are forced, but it does help.
Yeah, but that's a lot of times they are, but that's what it's smile. Awesome. Focus and smile.
What's one thing most people don't know about you?
I'm bald. No, I'm just kidding. People don't know about me. I'm pretty open. I like birds. I like bird watching.
Cool.
Which is
that with your fishing.
I do that in my backyard.
Yeah.
I got a nest of 2 nests going.
Aww.
Yeah. And trying to keep bobcat away. We got a bobcat in the neighborhood.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. He ran in my back. Was in my backyard the other day.
Oh my goodness.
My pit bull was going cuckoo. She wanted to go get him.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. What's
your favorite meal?
Favorite meal? Meatloaf.
Oh.
I don't make it enough, but meatloaf is probably my favorite. Fried chicken's my second favorite.
My goodness, it's been a long time since I had fried chicken.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it's homemade, so it's not.
Right.
If I make it, it's not salty at all.
What's the last show that you binged and loved?
MASH.
MASH. Wow, I haven't seen that forever.
I love that show. Watch it every night.
Wow. Where do you watch it?
Me TV.
Me TV.
Yeah, it's on from 7 to 8. My wife and I binge watch it every night. That and Andy. Then she wants to watch the Andy Griffith show.
Oh my goodness.
And then I wait till she falls asleep, which is usually about 5 minutes into it, and then I put the Red Sox on.
That's funny. What's on your nightstand?
My Bible and a bottle of methazine.
A bottle of what?
Eclazine.
Eclazine. What's an activity that completely relaxes you?
Fishing.
How often do you do that?
Not as often as I'd like. At least twice a week.
So you're close enough where you can get out there.
Yeah, the reservoir is literally a mile and a half.
That's great.
And if I want to fish illegally, there's another one that's half a mile up the road, which my daughter does. And she's always pulling out 7-10 pound bass.
Wow.
I'm like, I told the cop, I see you arrested. No, you didn't.
Oh my goodness. What's one movie you could watch over and over and never tire of?
Any Star Wars movie. Even the series, like I just finished the Kenobi series.
Did you?
Yeah, I'm a geek.
It's okay.
I know. And people will sit there and go, but all those flashing lights, don't they bother you? I'm like, well, not on TV.
Yeah.
In person they would. But yeah, they just had TNT, just had another Star Wars thing. And my wife and I watched the whole.
That's good she does that with you. That's awesome.
Yeah, she didn't like it up until probably a few years ago. Then when the new movies, so 7, 8, and 9 came out, that's when she started liking it.
Oh, great. What is your most used tool out of your vestibular toolbox?
Oh God, there's so many.
Would it be your journal?
My journal is probably the one that's most used.
And when I know some people, we always talk, generalization where you just write your symptoms. Do you include anything else in your journal, like your nutrition that day, your stress from that day, or anything like that?
No, I probably should, but I don't. To be
Just to
honest,
see if there's a pattern.
yeah, I did find a pattern with weather, like we were talking about.
Oh gosh, yes.
The low pressure.
Yeah.
But I should, but I don't.
Yeah. I was just curious, because I know everybody does a little something different in their journals.
Yeah, I probably really should, but I it's funny, I do it with my diabetes journal. It's the happy face, smiley face.
Right.
And there was something I was going to say, I forgot too. But yeah, I would say my journal.
Okay.
Would be number one.
And the last question is, what are you extremely grateful for today?
Everything. I am just a grateful person. I never take anything for granted. You want an honest answer? It's everything. I can't pick one thing. I mean, I'm grateful for, being able to do this. I'm grateful that you asked me to do this. My family, my house. I mean, just everything. Like I grew up in a 4-room apartment house with my father, my mother, my brother.
Yeah.
And I shared a room with my brother. And my room with my brother was probably half the size, not even half the size of the room I'm in right now. It was very small. So when we were always bumping into each other. And it was a concrete jungle. There was no plow.
Right.
If there was, my aunt who owned the place would let us play on it. Because it was either it had to be perfect or there was a garden or something. And so having where I'm living is, I'm grateful. I'm just grateful for everything. You asked me that 8 years ago, I would have said nothing.
Really?
Yeah. It's just the way everything changed. So, Menieres chronic illness changed me.
It's crazy to me how Menieres is such a big pain in the butt, but it's been a blessing in my life too.
Yeah.
And I know it's crazy. People are like, how can that be a blessing? But it really has. It has really changed the way I look at life, and obviously you too. Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't have been able to watch my son grow up. The other two I didn't have that chance. Sure, I went to the games and I did this and that, but I was out the door at 6 o'clock in the morning and I come home at 6 o'clock at night, then I'm running to practice, then I'm running home, I'm doing homework, then I'm in bed, and do the whole thing all over again.
All that busyness.
and this one, I've been able to, see him grow from, 12-year-old kid to now six. He says he's only 6 feet. I get taller. 6'2" man,
Right.
And very mature and very, very good kid, not doing anything that I was doing at that age. And it was a blessing and getting to know him and be friendly with him. He goes fishing with,
That's
we
great.
do things together. The
Yeah.
other one, like, you want to go fishing? Want to go hit? Well, my daughter, we would go to soccer games because she was a soccer nut. Till she discovered track in junior high school, which was a good thing. But this was like, Jen, we'll go fishing? Okay.
Yeah. That's
Let's
great.
go. Let's go to the store first. Let's go here. Okay.
Well, I hope you're able to get back out on the water a lot more with him. And I can't wait to see the pictures. So,
Yeah, I got a hard drive. I got a whole hard drive right here filled with thousands.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'll be able to get out a little bit more.
Great. Well, I really appreciate you meeting with us today and sharing your story. And I will include all the places people can support you. And thank you for being a voice out there in the community.
Oh,
I appreciate that.
yeah. Well, that was the thing. It's you gotta make awareness and you gotta give back.
Yeah.
You can't just take all this information from people and not give back.
Right.
And the YouTube thing really started as a way for me to learn to edit videos better. Because I was doing the edit video work down at church. And then it was like, why don't I just make this a thing? I'm not doing anything every day. Why don't I just make this a thing and I can give back and people, and like I've always say in every video, because I've gotten these messages too.
You found your passion and I love it.
Exactly. Thank you.
Can't wait to continue watching your journey and see you continually improve. Gotta save that right ear.
Yeah, no, I will. I'll do my best. That's all I can do.
Thanks again, Dave. All right. Thank you.
Anytime you want to do this again, I'm more than willing.
Awesome. Thank you for joining me, Heather Davies, and my guest, Dave Giugno, on this week's episode of Menieres Muse. If you would like to reach out to Dave, please find him on his YouTube blog, Menieresdisease Warrior, or one of his Facebook groups, Menieres and Vertigo Without Borders, or Menieres and Vertigo with Christian Borders. If you would like to reach out to me, Heather Davies, please feel free to email me or find me on Instagram. I want to take a moment to say thank you for being a part of the Menieres Muse community. I love to find inspirational vestibular warriors in the community and have them share their healing journey. Your feedback is very important to me. I'm here for you. We are here for you. No one has to go on this journey alone. Be sure to subscribe to Menieres Muse for updates. I'll see you next week, warriors.